I sat on top of the world. Everything the light touched was my kingdom. During the day, I could look at the valleys, hills, and rivers surrounding me. The expanse of the earth was at my fingertips. At night, my eyes turned towards the heavens. All of the night sky was visible from my perch. For thousands of years, I was at the highest point in the world. I was at the top of Mount Everest. It was on a cold, peaceful morning when the unthinkable occurred. The ground beneath me had begun to rumble. It was as if the earth was shivering from a cold burst of wind. The ground shook beneath me, growing in violence. I had began to slowly roll from my throne. Tumbling, bumbling, and stumbling, I flew down the sheer rock face. My descent seemed to last hours, but it was only moments until I splashed into the river below the mountain. Darkness and sorrow had ripped through me like a wolf tearing apart its prey. I had sat atop the mountain for many years, and it was by far the best home I ever had. Every time I move places, I worry about where I will end up. This time it was even worse. I thought no place can match my throne upon the mountain. My future was in the wild grip of the mountain river. I wondered what was next for me, if I would ever find myself back on top. My once grand life turned into a game of fate. I knew the odds weren't in my favor, yet for some reason I still remained optimistic. As the waters pushed me down, I had begun to lose my sanity. It was always dark at the bottom of the river. It reminded me of the days I lived underground or in a cave. Time passed just as it always had on top of the mountain, but time in the rivers was sad. I can't recollect how much time. I never really kept track. At some point, the water around me had grown bubbly, and it had started to move faster. It now seemed like I was being pulled forward rather than being pushed.
Before I could have fought it, the river pulled me over a steep edge. Once again, I felt like things could only get worse. Who knows how long I sat in the pool below the waterfall, being mad at life. I simply laid in frustration, with nothing to do, but once again sit and wait. Just as my hope was dying, a squinty-eyed man picked me up and mumbled, few years of my existence were some of the best. The man brought me everywhere. During that short time, I saw things that I had never seen in all my existence. The man and I traveled far and wide, to ugly places, beautiful places, and some unspeakable sights were seen. One day we got on a sea vessel. During our time on the water, my friend and the rest of the crew threw nets overboard to catch fish. Many years back, I had spent a great deal of time in the ocean. I had seen a great deal of things I never thought I would. Fish were pretty ugly little things, but I felt bad watching them die. Why would my carrier kill such kind creatures? As such thoughts were running through my mind, the sky had begun to rumble, rain had fallen, and the spirits made my carrier pay. Waves as big as my mountain home rose around us. Lightning lit up the darkness. Thunder vibrated our souls. As that night went on, the boat began to creak and groan. A wave came down directly on my friend. It knocked him overboard, with me in his hand. My carrier fought for the surface. In the struggle, I slipped from his grasp. While I sunk, I watched him fade into the distance. The agony that choked me out was worse than the sadness I had ever experienced. This was the beginning of a long journey down, physically and emotionally. It took me what I would guess to be 2 days to sink. Only one place so deep existed, the Mariana Trench. Over such a short time, I had gone from the highest point on Earth to the lowest. I existed, not lived, down in the depths of the earth, for what could have been centuries. Fate helped me, for I was blown right back up to the ocean's surface, and onto a huge metal ship. The long descent had landed me on an underwater volcano. That ship I landed on brought me to where I am now. I am happier here than I ever was on top of my mountain. This will be my home for quite a while. They call it Oregon.